What is happening, guys? It is your main man, Matt, from the DFS 5-pack. Still rocking it solo. Still Monday, April 12th. Ryan's not feeling well. Hopefully you guys just caught the showdown video I put out for the Twins and Red Sox game this afternoon. And, yeah, I'm excited to get on here and talk some main slate MLB, some main slate NBA. But you guys know my first love has been and always will be baseball. So I'm hyped to get on here and talk some MLB main slate with you guys. Got a really nice Monday night slate. DK put some juicy contests out there, so let's get after it. Pitching is pretty top heavy, but it is what it is. Everyone's dealing with the same nonsense, so we'll make it work. Let me screen share this, and we will start breaking it down. Sweet. We should be ready to roll, as one would like to say. Okay. Pitching options, like I said, pretty top-heavy tonight. You got Garrett Cole, one of the three best pitchers in baseball, coming off a dominant start against the Orioles. Was okay in his first start against the Blue Jays. He's surely in play here at 10-7. If you want to just spend up on the top two pitchers, I got absolutely no arguments for that. It's going to be trickier today, though. I was talking recently about how one of these days DK was going to price guys up. Today seems to be that day. A lot of their bats that have been really cheap are now more expensive. Pitching options have, their prices have been increased. So not as easy as it's been in recent days to make lineups. That said, it can still be done. And both the top two pitching options look elite here. Glass now gets the dream spot against the Rangers. I mean, he didn't even look that great like he had his AA stuff against Boston last time out. Obviously from a DFS perspective, was still really, really good. And I expect a similar score tonight, if not better, against a much weaker Rangers lineup, Greinke is in play for me. He's too expensive, but like I just mentioned, a lot of guys on this slate are priced up. He was really good in that Angels start after the first couple innings. And the Angels are never a team you really want to pick on. They don't strike out a lot. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys, which makes it really hard to spend 10-2 on him. On the flip side, I love picking on Detroit, and he's going to get no love. So if you think, either Glasnow or Cole or both don't have great starts here, and Greinke, takes advantage of the matchup, I get going there in tournaments. Rodon is too expensive, a tougher spot. Cleveland does not strike out a lot. And again, Rodon is $3K more than he was last start, so not really where I'm looking to go. Tristan Mckenzie, too expensive and not in a great spot. I'm also a Mckenzie fan, but there's no way I can spend over 9K on him here. In this range right here, Alcantara's my guy. Tough spot against Atlanta. I'd never like to pick on the Braves. But as far as this pricing range goes, Alcantara's just better than all these guys. He's legit, coming off a really good spring. Two really, really good starts to start the year against good teams in St. Louis and Tampa Bay. Obviously a tough matchup here. But he's in play for me at 8,500. He's on the short list, even if I don't get there. Cobb, no thanks. Singer, definitely no. Bumgarner, Oakland's getting a ton of love. And while I don't necessarily agree with Oakland chalk, I'm not using Bumgarner right now. Just no. Freddie Peralta is a little bit interesting. Was really good against this Cubs team in his last start. I struggled to go here, seeing the same team with a guy like Peralta who we know can get hit and hit hard. His stuff isn't there. You look up boom bust option in the dictionary, and they're going to show a picture of Freddie Peralta. That's just what it is. Robbie Ray, hell no for me. I like the Yankees a lot here. And it has much more to do with the Yankees than Robbie Ray himself. They got going late yesterday. Robbie Ray making his first start of the year. He, has a propensity to put guys on base, which is a no-no against this Yankees lineup, and I think they take full advantage here. Chris Bassett, he's a guy that I'm a big fan of. I used him in the past. Each of his past two starts, he was not very good. That was my mistake, my fault. Definitely regretted it. Two really bad matchups. Tough for me to get to him here, even in a much better spot. $100 price tag. That said, like I just mentioned, a lot of guys are priced up, and in this range right here, he's probably my favorite option. Wade Miley was really good in his season debut against the Pirates. Not interested in Giants bats, but I'm not really looking to chase Miley. However, he's only 7,100. So if you are buying what he's selling right now, I don't think it's the craziest play in the world. Adbert Alzolay was not good against the same Brewers team in his last start. I kind of like him. All right, we should be good now. Sorry, we froze for a second. A lot of ownership should flock to Peralta, and I think Alzolay is just as strong of a play. My hesitancy here comes in the fact that Milwaukee has gotten going the past few games and not really looking to pick on them. I don't think he's the craziest play in the world, though. Aaron Sanchez not throwing enough pitches, even though since he did cool down a bit the past couple days. Justice Sheffield, no. If this game holds, the Mariners and Orioles game, and this is a game we have a little bit of concerns about, I like the offense here. Dane Dunning was really good in his Rangers in season debut against Toronto. He only threw 5 innings, though. He went 70 pitches, which is a lot for an opener. But I'd be hesitant here. He's still listed as an opener. DK isn't listing him as an opener for shits and giggles. If he's not pitching well, he'll probably get pulled earlier. And that in my opinion, is his max. So I'd be real hesitant there. He's a good pitcher, though. So at 6,600 in a better matchup, I might be interested, just not here. Kremer, no thank you. Peterson and Anderson, this is a game that has weather concerns. Neither pitcher I'm looking at anyways, so moving on. Fetty was disastrous in his opening start against I know who this was. The Braves. Yes, the Braves. And now he gets a little bit of an easier match against St. Louis. But truth be told, I'm more interested in some St. Louis bats than Fetty himself. Just no way I can get here after, the stat line he put up in that opening game against the Braves, against the St. Louis team, I think is going to come out a little bit hungry today and want to get to Fetty early. So if I'm spending, $6K on a pitcher, which I don't think is crazy at all, Fetty's not my guy. We'll get there. Casey Mize is one of the better pitching prospects in baseball, but he hasn't really put it all together yet, and this is 100% not the spot to use him in. Huascar Noah, I'm interested. He's only 6K. Obviously, they used him out of the bullpen sometimes, but he also can make spot starts. And, he threw close to 70 pitches last time out against the Nationals. I don't love picking on the Marlins, and I don't think it's, you have to use these expensive pitchers whenever they're facing the Marlins. However, they're not a bad spot. Noah is 6K, threw up close to 20 last time out, and there are expensive offenses I like, so he's in play for me. John Gant, it's hard not to at least take a look here, under 6K, threw 82 pitches last time out. That said, I think the Nationals are going to get going and going to get going soon, coming off a really tough series where they saw really good pitching in LA. I like Trey Turner and Soto a lot. I can't see myself using John Gant here personally. All righty, let's talk some bats, shall we? And I was thinking about doing it position by position, and you know what? I will. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to sneeze. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So, alrighty, let's do it position by position. Actually, you know what? We'll do it game by game so I can talk about the spots I like more. Seattle and Baltimore is a game I like from an offensive perspective. If the weather holds, these are two teams I'm looking hard at. So, Pedro Severino, you betcha. I'm assuming he's in the lineup today. Nice power off left-handed pitching. Wildly in play for me. I like him a lot more in a Baltimore stack, obviously. We'll talk Baltimore first and then get to Seattle. Baltimore got going yesterday. Mancini had a monster day, 22 DK points. I think Mountcastle was he's been okay recently. This whole stack is not as cheap as it's been, but they're still wildly in play. Interested to see what their lineup looks like today. The start of the week, Monday is often could be a little bit different, facing a lefty. Santander has not had the greatest start to the year. He's still got big power. I don't mind him on any slate. If I'm stacking Baltimore, I'm interested. Just not really a guy I'm looking to use as a one-off. Mikal Franco, he's got big power against lefties. Massive day yesterday. He's streaky. So another guy, if I'm stacking Balt, I want him. All righty. They're pretty weak in the middle infield. Galvis is day to day, so you might see Pat Leka in there. Yay. Definitely not a guy I'm interested in getting to unless it's a stack. Not sure we'll see Stewart in the lineup today, but we'll have to just wait and see what their lineup looks like. And then the Seattle side got going big time late yesterday. I think they're wildly in play here. If Tom Murphy's in the lineup, I think he's a cheap catcher option you can look at. Marmolejo's a little bit more expensive now. Wouldn't be my favorite option, but again, if I'm stacking them, I'm going to have interest in all these guys. Dylan Moore sat yesterday. Could be what he needed. Again, these guys aren't going to jump off the page at you, but they've got power in their own right, and they're affordable. Kyle Seeger with a monster game yesterday, a 40 ball, 2 homers, went 4 for 4. You guys can see it right there. He's my favorite piece of Seattle if I'm stacking them here. I think he's wildly in play as a one-off in a stack, however you want to use him. J.P. Crawford, hard to get there hitting 9th. He's got nice speed upside. If I'm stacking him, another guy. If I'm stacking him, I'm interested in him. If not, I'm not. Haniger looks good. Taylor Tremell really starting to show up. Back-to-back monster games. This is one of the better hitting prospects in all of baseball. So he's sneaky. I don't think people have really caught on yet. He's still only 3,100. He's in play for me. Both these teams, their individual pieces might not jump off the page, but they're in good spots as a whole. And I like the idea of getting to these teams as stacks. All righty, moving on. I'm highly interested in the Yankees. I'm not interested in the Orioles at all. Give me one sec, guys. All right, I'm back with you. So, no interest in the Blue Jays against Garrett Cole. No need on this slate. I'm never really looking to pick on Cole, and on a slate this size, definitely not. As far as the Yankees go, highly interested. Sanchez, love him. Nice game yesterday. Big hit in extra innings. He's he's high on my short list. They might not even have the first baseman to use, which is interesting. I know they have a bunch of outfielders, so we'll have to see how that plays out. LeMahieu played first recently. He might have played first yesterday. So he's struggled a bit to start the year, but man, he crushes lefties leading off for this Yankees team. I'm interested, despite the fact that he hasn't had a great year, and he hasn't, he's hitting to some bad luck so far. I mean, like I said, despite the fact he's not started the year so hot, he's still averaging over 18K points. So when he turns it on, we know how good he can be. I'm interested. Urshela, I'm interested. Monster game last night. Crushes lefties, 4 of 5. Yeah, you betcha. He's one of the cheaper pieces as well. So he's firmly in play for me. Torres, I liked a lot yesterday. Wasn't great. Managed to meander into 14 DK points thanks to a big steal. Starting to see the ball better. I love him here. 4,500. He's way too cheap compared to how pricey the other Yankees are. I like him a ton. Man, they're going to have a lot of outfielders here. Judge, Stanton's a priority for me. Monster power off lefties. Let me check the BVP quickly. See if there's anything of note. Stanton's 1 of 7, so don't love it, but definitely not using him because of that. He's still surely in play. I mean, high on my short list at 5,500 with massive power. Judge, again, same type of thing. I prefer Stanton. Today in a matchup with Robbie Ray. However, I like both of them, and if I'm stacking the Yankees, I will have exposure to both. Aaron Hicks gives you a nice cheap exposure. They aren't as expensive as I thought. They're Judge, Stanton, LeMahieu all over 5K, but like Torres and Sanchez both under 5K. Probably my top upside stack on the board here. Frazier, big time power off lefties. if he cracks the lineup, I mean, you betcha. So, again, another team will have to wait on their lineup. They can do some different things. But regardless of who they throw out there, they're going to be wildly in play for me. Alrighty, Phillies Mets. This is kind of a cross-off game for me. There's big-time weather concerns. I don't really like the pitching options to use, but I don't really want to pick on them either. Obviously you can use some Philly bats against Peterson. I think they will get love, but weather has me off this. I think this might have been the slate where like this was the slate where Philly was really chalky and they had a real good game. They put up 8 runs. So yeah, I see heading to Philly, especially in cash games. I mean, they're just way too cheap. We'll have to wait and see on Philly. This game might get postponed, so not something I really want to spend too much time on. Texas and Tampa. I'm not interested in Texas here. Glasnow can give up, some home runs. He's a better DFS pitcher than real life pitcher probably, but Texas doesn't do it for me, and they're not the spot I'm going to here. Tampa, they've been pretty good recently. Arozarena has really come alive. Double digits in 3 straight. I don't mind Tampa here. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that they're an awful stack, but there's just better spots on the board. I can't see myself prioritizing Tampa here. I respect Dunning. Just not really a spot I want to go to. Miami and Atlanta. I mean, I'm more interested in the pitching in this game than I am the hitting. The Braves have the much better offense, but the Marlins are in the better spot. I mean, you want to talk about unowned. 5,800 for Marte. He hasn't even hit a bomb yet this year. If that doesn't say it all, I don't know what will. I mean, man, I like the idea of getting to some Miami bats with Noah getting some love, and if they were cheap, but they're not cheap. I mean, Dickerson's cheap, potentially leading off. He hasn't been good to start the year, though. So Miami is much more solid than spectacular. Hard to prioritize them, and I respect Alcantara. So, yeah, if you want to play Acuna, I mean, newsflash, dude is good. I mean, he's averaging close to 15 DK points per game now. He's been awesome recently. So if you want to lock him in, do your thing. I got no arguments with that. Let's see about his success against Alcantara. I do like Alcantara, though, so I think he's legit. Acuna's 0 of 8 off him. So, yeah, I mean, I would not use him because of that, but I'm certainly not rushing to use him because of that. So take that for what you will. Alcantara's on my short list, no doubt. We got the Cubs at the Brewers. Change of scenery from a series we saw last week. One thing that does help Alzolay is, I don't see Yelich playing today. Monday after, they don't have the Monday off here. He's listed as day to day. He got removed yesterday. Makes it a much better spot for Alzolay, no doubt about it. So, as far as Milwaukee bats go, again, have to potentially deal with no Yelich. Avi is hot right now. Homers in back-to-back games. Their lineup I haven't really loved their lineup to begin with, and now potentially with no Yelich. I don't know. Hero we liked a lot yesterday. Unfortunately, he wasn't in the lineup, so he obviously wasn't in play. He hit the ball hard 4 times on Saturday, so if you want to get there, I get it, but I'm not really excited about Milwaukee here. And the Cubs are interesting just in the fact that they have a lot of power and they won't get any love because they're expensive and Peralta just pitched well against them. It's damn hard to prioritize these guys. I mean, prioritize these guys at their price points. I like the Yankees considerably more. I get it from a tournament perspective, and if I were making a ton of lineups, I might have exposure here, but in any sort of optimal line, there's just so many spots I like more. We got 6 games left, and we're about to get to a game I like a lot. So I think this is a game that could definitely see some offense. You got Washington at St. Louis, 2 mediocre pitchers on the hill. From the St. Louis side, they get Eric Fetty, who was blown up in his first start, and I think they're definitely in play here. You're going to have to really prioritize them, especially if you want the main guys. I know this is the longest Goldie's gone in between at-bats without a home run in his career. We saw him really struggle a couple of years ago at the beginning of the season, and that alone gives me cause for pause on spending so much on Goldie. I mean, he was awful 2 or 3 years ago for the first half in Arizona. Obviously put it together. He's not the Goldie of old, though, depending on how long you guys have been following MLB baseball. This was a perennial MVP year in, year out. He's not that guy anymore. He's still got massive power. If I'm stacking St. Louis, I'm interested in him. But, man, it is hard to click his name at 5,400. Edman at 5,100. I mean, expensive. I like the idea of St. Louis, but at their price tags, probably not where I land. I'm more likely to get to Washington if I'm spending that exorbitant amount of money. I mean, give me some Trey Turner, who went 3 for 3 off Kershaw yesterday, stole a bag. The big game's coming for Turner. I like Turner and I like Soto a lot. They both are better than John Gant. And of all the teams we've talked about that people won't want to prioritize their price tags, I like Washington the most. They're right there with the Yankees for me, especially those two main guys. Their lineup after that isn't very good, so hard to prioritize them. You'll probably have Robles leading off. You know, who knows what they're going to do at catcher. It's Turner and Soto for me. That's a mini stack I love here. Cleveland and Chicago. This is not really a game I'm interested in from either side. I'm not interested in Rodon or McKenzie. They're too expensive. But I'm not really interested in looking to pick on Rodon or McKenzie. So I get one-offs. Adam Eaton, big-time pinch hit home run yesterday. He could be leading off here. Don't mind him at all. And my favorite piece of this game, I take back everything I said about not having a ton of interest because I like Framil Reyes a lot. He is locked in right now. He's a guy that gets really streaky, and he's streaking hot right now. Crushes lefties. He's my favorite play from this entire game. Yeah, just can't really see myself prioritizing anyone else from this game. Detroit and Houston. Certainly not really looking to stack Detroit against Greinke. Just they're not it. And Greinke's still good even if you don't want to use him in DFS. As far as Houston goes, I respect Mize, but he hasn't been great, especially at the major league level. They're pretty affordable. Gurriel under 4K. Altuve is expensive leading off, but he's an integral part of the stack if you want to go there. What's up with Bregman? I'm sure he'll be in the lineup today. I'd actually be surprised if he's not after sitting Saturday. So I mentioned it earlier in the video. DK has really priced guys up, and that's a theme today. And everyone's got to deal with it, and it makes a lot of these teams harder to get to. Alvarez, kind of surprising to see him under 5K with how they're pricing guys out. He's certainly in play here. Their whole outfield looks good, all between 4,100 and 4,700. Both Tucker and Brantley averaging over 10 DK points a game. I got no issues with anyone who wants to get to Houston here. KC and ATL. Why did I say ATL? I have no idea. KC and the Angels. Wow. One of those Monday mornings, I guess. So from the Royals perspective, Cobb was pretty good in his first start, but I think this Royals lineup is pretty sneaky. They've got some nice power and speed upside. I was wondering what happened to Dozier yesterday. Oh, okay, his thumb. Santana monster home run yesterday. Whit Merrifield is crazy expensive. Really, really hard to prioritize him here. That said, he just continues to get there. I mean, 15 yesterday, and all he was 2 for 4 with 2 singles. I mean, whenever a guy can get 15 DK points hitting 2 singles, it's impressive. I like this Royals offense more than I like Alex Cobb. Benintendi stole a bag yesterday. This is a team that's not afraid to run. I'll like this lineup a lot more when they get Mondesi in there. But even as it stands right now, I'm interested in them against Alex Cobb. Benintendi and Merrifield, my favorite pieces, especially with how pricey Perez is. Have to wait and see the rest of their lineup, whether Dozier makes it or not. Kyle Isbell's a guy that's been pretty solid, averaging 7 DK points per game, and he's 2,600. Don't hate it. Obviously, prefer it if you're stacking the Royals, but if you really need that one-off, you could do worse. That's all I'll say. The Angels are certainly in play. I respect Singer's stuff, and I liked him last time out, but he is one of these guys that has really, really good stuff, but it might not show every start. And if he doesn't have it tonight, I'm afraid that the Angels could really get to him. The Angels aren't my favorite stack on the board because, like I said, I respect Singer stuff. So if he is feeling it tonight, then I think he could have a good game. But I side with the Angels offense over Singer. They're just better than him at this point. Mike Trout, I can't imagine he gets a ton of love at 6,100 with so many high, expensive bats on the slate. That said, it is Mike Trout. The Angels are in a good spot. He'll get some love, so I don't think you're going to get him under or unowned at all. Ohtani's very affordable. They have his pitching numbers in here, so that might draw people off him. Like you see, DK says he's averaging 2 points per game because they're not accumulating any of his counting stats for hitting. He was 1 for 4 with a triple, and they have him at 0 DK points. Pretty sure he had more than 0, especially when he went 2 for 5 with a bomb and a double and 4 ribbies against the Blue Jays the game before. That in itself might keep some people off Ohtani, and that just makes me like him more. Maybe my favorite piece of the Angels, Ohtani looks to be in a smash spot here. Walsh looks good. Lefties can get to Singer, and the Angels have some good lefties. So another team will have to wait and see their lineup. But assuming it's I assume it's their normal. It's the way they normally go, only because they were off yesterday. Fowler got hurt, so need to see how they replace him. But I would just assume that Upton, Ohtani, Walsh, Trout, and Lagares makes the lineup just because they're running a little bit low on options. Another team with a bunch of outfield options. At least Walsh and Ohtani have first base eligibility, which helps. But a lot of the player pool for the Angels is condensed. And definitely a downgrade to the lineup here with Rendon probably out. Joe Madden said he does not anticipate Rendon playing. That's no sure thing. But if the manager's saying that, I don't expect him to play, which weakens the Angels lineup. So we will have to see what their lineup looks like today. I'll go back and I'll stay firm on that because it's going to look a little bit different. They're still in play, but makes me like them less. I mean, Rendon is, the Angels are built with Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani. Anytime one of those guys are missing, it really, really hurts their lineup. Alrighty, moving on down to Oakland and Arizona. This game is interesting. I think this is one of those games you could see playing out in a bunch of different ways. Oakland getting a ton of love here. And I mean, they're affordable. There's expensive pitching on this slate. I get it. Chapman is a guy with massive power, 4,400. I mean, considering some of these price tags, he's surely in play. Olsen, same thing, 4,400. Chad Lowry, he's a guy I've used a bunch recently. He's been solid. He's 3,700. I get it. Sean Murphy, 3,500. Andrews, 3,100. I mean, all these guys under 4K. I get it. I mean, if you want to roster Cole and Glass now, it makes a ton of sense. In cash games, I would get a lot of Oakland exposure simply because of how cheap they are. So in tournaments, it's an interesting fade. And there are some expensive offenses I really like. I do think that if you roster Cole and Glass now, you're kind of pigeonholed into using some A's, which I hate. So inherently, I want to get different. That said, I think it looks as of right now like optimally Cole, Glass now, and at least getting some Oakland exposure is what it's going to be. Certainly in cash games, if nothing else. I mean, Kana and Laureano are good against lefties. Laureano, massive game. They didn't play yesterday, so massive game on Saturday. Yeah, Oakland looks good here for sure. They're going to be too high owned, but ownership put aside, they look real good. As far as Arizona goes, I respect Bassett. I don't really want to pick on Bassett. Arizona has been much better recently. I mean, Eduardo Escobar, 20-plus in 4 straight. Hard not to at least take a long look there. Peralta finally got going yesterday. I'm a little bit torn because I'm a big Bassett fan. I think he's legit. but he doesn't look great to start the year. I think Arizona's probably a little bit underrated. More than likely, this ends up as a spot I just stay away from, both offensively and from a pitching perspective. That said, Eduardo Escobar at 3,700 looks like a really nice play in all formats. All formats. Dual eligibility, really cheap. He's a guy I've always been a fan of. If I were making one lineup tonight, there's a strong chance he'd be in there. All right, last but not least, we got the Reds and the Giants. I think that this is a game that might go a little bit under-owned, and I think there's upside here. So from a pitching perspective, we got Miley and Sanchez. Miley was awesome his first start. The Giants have some guys that are really good against lefties. I want to check the BVP quickly. So Posey's 10 of 26 off of Miley, hitting 385. Longoria's 8 for 32. They've got guys with some decent success against Miley. Posey's a bit more expensive now, but considering there's 10 catchers priced higher than him, 4,300 doesn't look so bad. I don't think we'll see Brandon Belt in the lineup, even though he's coming off a monster game and has good numbers off Miley in a small sample size, albeit 5 for 10. He's 5 for 10 with a double, a homer, 2 walks. So if he makes the lineup today, I'm interested. Darren Ruff's always a guy I can get on board against lefties. He's got big-time power against left-handed pitching, and that's just a known fact. Wilmer Flores, kind of the same thing. Really, really awful start to the season. Not going to be surprised if even against a lefty today, he's on the bench and Brandon Belt's in there. I'm not saying that's a likely outcome, but wouldn't be shocked. He won't be in the lineup lefty on lefty. They've got some other decent pieces. Longo, like I said, he's averaging double digits. I don't think he's crazy at all. These aren't going to be the sexiest names to roster, but I don't think they're out of play either. All these guys are affordable with power off left-handed pitching. That said, Miley was really good last time out, so I don't really want to chase that. Sanford isn't in the best spot here, since he's in a much better spot against Aaron Sanchez, who was decent last time out, but no doubt this is a guy that can get hit. I think the luster has kind of worn off since they haven't been great the past couple games, so I don't think you see many people go here at all, and they're in play. Barnhart's been one of the better hitting catchers to start the year. Votto has not been one of the better hitting first basemen. Man, he just seems like he's lost it. This guy was a perennial MVP for years. He won the MVP one year, so he is not my favorite play from the Reds. I'm only interested if I'm stacking there. Indy is a guy you can get to with power at second. Moustakas, they finally priced him out. He's now 4,900. He's in play for me. There's other third basemen I like more, but like I said, I think the Reds are sneaky here. You got Suarez, who's started to hit the ball a little bit better. He finally homered. He had a decent series against Arizona, so don't hate that call. And their offense is really where it's at. You got Winker still day-to-day, so you potentially could have Naquin leading off again. It's cooled off a little bit his past couple days as well, but he's still a rock-solid play leading off. You got Castellanos, probably their top overall hitter. He's cooled down also, so it's a little bit tricky and difficult to want to spend the money on these guys, and they have cooled off, but that's how everyone will feel. So their ownership will dictate that. I think these guys are in play, even if there's stacks I like slightly more, like the A's for value, like the Yankees, like the Astros, and like the Cardinals in the mini stack is Soto and Turner, and then the Seattle-Baltimore game if that game plays. So that's really where I'm thinking I'm going to go as of right now. Obviously still very early, not even noon yet Eastern, about to be noon, 11:59 here. So unlike basketball, a ton doesn't change throughout the day, but you get weather, you start looking at more stats, things change, you start feeling better about different spots, and that's what we got the write-up for. So the write-up will be out for members only. If you want to get a taste of that, we got a ton of different membership options right now, and we'd love to have you on board. So let me unscreen share this, and I will let you guys go. That is all I got for you guys. Thanks for hanging in with me, and let's get it tonight. Thanks again.